my drive here on March the 11th, 2010 in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. My drive is taking me right now from Bartlett, past the Bretton Woods ski area, to the Mount Washington Hotel, which is a very historic, grand hotel property that was opened in 1902. I have an appointment at the Mount Washington Hotel to get a tour through the hotel and get a bit of an insider look into the hotel and the facilities that it offers. The Mount Washington Hotel, when you come in on Route 302, is actually a property you can't miss. It's this gorgeous, gorgeous and expansive hotel property that's built in a Spanish Revival style. And particularly in the winter it's gorgeous because snow-capped Mount Washington with its white summit area is draped right behind the Mount Washington Hotel. So it's an absolutely gorgeous sight. And I've been starting to do a little bit of reading about that hotel property, and the more I started reading about it, the more interesting it became. Because it was opened in 1902 after 2 years of construction. And let me give you a view of this beautiful mountain vista here, Mount Washington in the background. And it was just open in one of the most ideal locations for all-year tourism. The White Mountains of New Hampshire, an area that was settled probably in the late 1700s. See, here's a gorgeous picture of Mount Washington right here. So it was opened in the late 1700s. Sorry, it was the whole area was settled at about 1790 by a family called Crawford. And there's an area coming up here, I believe, that's called Crawford Notch, which is one of those narrow mountain passes, and still reminiscent of that family's name. Let me drive in here for a second and see what it says here. Frankenstein trestle. The high steel trestle above was built in 1893 to replace a wrought iron trestle. Now, I don't see anything here. I don't see any trestle. Strengthened in 1930-1950, named for American artist Godfrey N. Frankenstein. The adjacent cliff and gulf were formidable barriers to the completion of the Portland and Ogdensburg Railroad, later the Maine Central, which connected Portland, Maine and the Great Lakes. Trains used the trestle until 1985. It now carries excursion trains through Crawford Notch. That's interesting, actually, because through this narrow mountain valley here, when you, I don't know if you can see it on the left right now, you can't really see it, but there are train tracks running on the side of the mountain, coming in from North Conway and beyond, going up all the way past Bretton Woods, past the Mount Washington Hotel. And these train tracks were basically used very heavily in the late Victorian period, when the various grand hotels were built in these areas, and they would bring in visitors, wealthy visitors most of the time, from urban areas. Boston, of course, Boston would be the next major metropolitan area close to New Hampshire here, a really large city, obviously. Philadelphia, New York City, people coming in from all these urban areas. Sometimes summering here, spending the whole summer in this area. And it was very, very popular because it's a very scenic area. People used to do lawn bowling, cricket, tennis, relax on the lawns, and it was a very, very popular area for early tourism in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Skiing started in this area, I think, in the late 1920s. The Cannon Mountain actually has the only aerial tramway or big gondola in New Hampshire, and the first aerial tramway was opened on Cannon Mountain in 1938. It was completely rebuilt in 1980, but it gives you an idea that even winter tourism and ski tourism has been popular in this area for over 70 years now. This was one of the first areas in all of North America to actually attract winter tourism and ski tourism. And it's a very, very fascinating area. It has lots of history. I've been doing a little bit of research about it yesterday on the internet, and I was reading actually that there were ironworks in the area, lots of mills, different types of manufacturing industries in some of the small towns nearby. So it's been a historic area and a somewhat a developed area for quite a long time now. And nowadays, of course, the Mount Washington Valley and the White Mountains in general are a very, very popular tourist area. And you can see the mountains are coming down here pretty steeply in the valley here. We're approaching Crawford Notch. And let me come back to you with another clip as we get closer to that narrow mountain passage.